meeting this challenge? That leisure.
Thank you, Professor. You raised very important and very timely question. It is very relevant in the present time. Most of the people talk about the rising of sea level and global warming, etc. First, we have to understand, and the entire globe must understand that the mountains, and particularly the mountains in Nepal, they are the location, the situation of our mountains, and the role of our mountains to maintain climate balance and ecosystem is especially important, because those are between the line of Cancer and line of Capricorn. That is hot area. The sun goes up to Cancer, line of Cancer, and up to Capricorn. This is hot area, and being situated at the hot area, and those mountains are holding snows, ice, because of the altitude. They are in the hot place, but there is ice. And that is the largest cooling system and charging system of the world, recharge system of the water, and cooling the earth, and cooling the air of that. And mountains are not only important for Nepal, but for entire world, for the entire globe, they are important. So I would like to draw attention of the world that if we talk about the rise of sea levels and the danger of sinking of small island countries, we have to go to the source of the problem. We cannot treat at the end, but we have to go to the source, and that source is the mountain. If the mountain hold enough ice and melt slowly, then they can flow, the rivers, create rivers, recharge system, they can smoothly. But if the sea, again there is one ecosystem between the sea and mountain. If the seas are polluted and the polluted cloud goes to the mountain and it collides with the mountain, and that contributes to melt the ice. That is another. And fire in the forest, that is another problem. And in our region particularly, some months before there was a report worldwide, there was known that the most polluted city was Kathmandu at one time. It was for about 1 week or 2 weeks about, because after harvesting the wheat, the hay of wheat was burnt, and the cloud and the smoke and the dust was spread. That created very dangerous pollution in the air. And that is salty, and that is acidic, and that goes to collide with the mountains and the ice melts. That's the problem. So, until now, in my opinion, we are contributing 46% of our land for forest, as well as our mountains are 70%. 46, 70, 63. And rivers and ponds, etc., and lakes, including more than 70% of land, we are contributing for the climate issues. So that is the huge contribution of Nepal. And we are conscious, we are aware about the importance of this issue and for the future. And when we talk about the future, we talk about planet and people. We have to save the planet, we have to save the people, and safer and safer earth and safety of human beings. There are some aspects. I don't want to explain now because it will be longer. So, as you asked me, Professor, on the question of climate change, that's our opinion, and we are conscious about that. And we urge the entire world to be conscious and treat at the point of origin from where the problem is from.
Well said. Although we're supposed to start Q&A, I have one more question for you. Our students, many of them are entrepreneurs. Can you tell them why they should join you in Nepal as an entrepreneur? What message would you like to give them?
I would like to request whoever are entrepreneurs or who are not, I would like to suggest them to be entrepreneur. And there are opportunities for a startup. There are other opportunities in Nepal too, speaking in the real sense. So I would like to, and America is developed, not because it was rich. It's developed and become rich. Now China also become rich. Not because it was rich and developed, but they developed and become rich. So we cannot run away. We cannot escape from the problems. We have to develop our country. We have to establish and provide good governance to the people, to the nation. Rule of law. And that rule must be just rule.
Agree.
So, just rule and rule of law. And there must be opportunity not only for a small chunk of people.
प्रधानमन्त्री केपी शर्मा ओलीले पहिला कोलम्बिया युनिभर्सिटीद्वारा आयोजित वर्ल्ड लिडरशिप फोरममा करिब 15 मिनेट सम्बोधन गर्नुभयो र सम्बोधनपछि आयोजक युनिभर्सिटीको तर्फबाट प्रोफेसरले राखेका 3वटा प्रश्नको उत्तर दिँदै हुनुहुन्छ र यो तेस्रो प्रश्नको अन्तिम जवाफपछि अब यहाँ कोलम्बिया युनिभर्सिटीका विद्यार्थीहरूद्वारा सोधिएका विभिन्न प्रश्नको उत्तर दिने कार्यक्रम छ प्रधानमन्त्री ओलीले.
So now let's hear what some of the students, and I'm sure Columbia has a tradition of asking good questions to the students, so hopefully there will be. I will take 2 or 3 questions and then phrase it for you. If you could introduce yourself, if you feel comfortable, and what school you are at Columbia would be very helpful. So we'll do one on the right, one on the left, etc.
Hi, my name is Mansi Dahal and I go to the School of the Arts. My question to the Prime Minister Oli would be, like we've been talking about, a vast majority of Nepali youth have been working abroad due to the limited opportunities in Nepal. You and your government has been in power for over decades now. Is this not a concern for you and the government? Because as an emerging nation, I see this as a huge threat to not have the youth in the country. Secondly, you have been saying that you think the youths are important and they need to come back, but why is the older generation like you and other leaders not willing to step down or aside to let the youth run the country? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Jonas and I'm a graduate of the School of International and Public Affairs. My question goes to the geography you already talked about. You're located between the 2 most populated countries in the world. How do you balance the relationship with both countries on political and economic levels? Thank you.
Thank you.
One more, and then...
Thank you. My name is Callan Zborowski-Fenster. I'm a freshman in Columbia College majoring in political science. My question is regarding rural life in Nepal and outmigration. Since 2021, Nepal has negative population growth rates in over 30 mountain districts. As rural areas are depopulating, urban areas are growing equally as rapid, with this gap increasing by the thousands every passing day. Nepal citizens of rural communities have come out and said that the reasons for this outmigration can be boiled down to lack of economic opportunities in education and healthcare. Also, rain-fed agriculture has been impacted due to climate change and disease, and this has de-incentivized the production of important goods that vitalize the Nepali economy. With these grim prospects, rural populations have been moving elsewhere. You said earlier that a possible plan to combat this outmigration is to increase agricultural-based jobs, but yet these agricultural-based jobs and the communities are the very ones that are leaving due to lack of resources. My question is, as someone who comes from a rural town myself, how does the Nepali government plan on prioritizing these rural populations, which are pivotal to the nation? Thank you.
So I can sum it up a little bit, but I think one of the aspects that has been said, although the balance between China and India is a different one, is the fact of how do you incentivize the rural, the young, to participate, whether in the leadership or in work?
In my opinion, first of all, we have to love our country. If I cannot abandon my mother, if she is even poor, I have to look after her problems and try to solve. And if she is poor, I shouldn't hate. I must try to change the situation. We are, and particularly the youth, are not to run away from the problems, but to face the problem and get victory over them. Every country was poor. There were no facility. When in our country there was education, there was medicine, there was treatment, so many things. So many countries were not formed yet. So, we have very glorious history, but because of different selfish rulers and autocratic systems, we didn't get opportunity to develop, and people were. That era was dark. We say dark era of autocracy. And people didn't get opportunity to get rid of that. But finally, people toppled the autocratic system and brought back democracy. Democracy is not a gift. It is a fruit after the fight of the people. They got. Similarly, we can. Even now, I realize that there are problems, but we can resolve. And we have to be self-confident. We can. And so far the incentive to the youth is even if the adverse situations are not for always. They are until when we tolerate them. If we reject, then they come to another way. And as I mentioned before too, we have provided opportunities to the youths, startups, loans, and other opportunities as well. Yes, of course. The salary in Nepal is not high. But the market is also very cheap. Price hike is not that much. We can buy things at a very cheaper rates. And so far, another question that how we are balancing both giant neighbors. Neighbors are neighbors. There is a saying that you cannot change your neighbor. So we have to understand that we cannot change our neighbors, and our neighbors also cannot change their neighbors too. So we must deal with them. They are not our enemies. They are our friends. So with friends, we have to put our problems, grievances, demands, and whatever our feeling is, and what problems we are facing, we can talk to them frankly, candidly, openly, share our views with them, and through the discussion, through the dialogues, we can reach the point with the proof, with the facts, and being based on the truth. We have to deal with them. So we can. But we cannot give up our national interest, sovereignty, independence. Freedom is a must for us. It's very, very important. And Nepali people must be, I would like to tell Nepali students, we are here, must be proud that we have no independent day, because we were never colonized. We were always independent. So it's a matter of glory. And that glory we have to translate into a prosperous country. And we have to make our people happy. And my government's emphasis now is our aim is, our goal is prosperous Nepal, happy Nepali. We want to make Nepal a prosperous one, and the Nepali people happy people. That is our goal. And for this, I don't take as two giant neighbors with different political systems and economic systems, etc., as a negative aspect, but that is positive thing. We have, if we can produce, we have already two huge markets of the world. So we can use them, those markets, if we produce. If we do not produce and if we just import and we become consumers of others, markets of others, consumers of others, and our small country cannot maintain that. Next one, what are the last question?
Well, I think you've answered. We'll get some more questions. We'll start with over here on the right.
Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm from the Graduate School of Education, Psychology and Health, and I just wanted to ask the Prime Minister, with the discussion of democracy and peace, why Nepal decided to abstain at the United Nations General Assembly on the demands of ending the Israeli occupation in Palestine, while other South Asian nations voted in favor.
Good evening, Prime Minister. Namaste. My name is Om Desai. I'm a first-year student at Columbia College studying political science and economics. My question for you is this. I'm the son of two hard-working Indian-American parents. They immigrated from India to the United States almost 30 years ago, and they've always spoke fondly of the relationship between India and Nepal. Our two countries share a very unique brotherhood, very religiously, culturally, and geopolitically. Recently, I know you met with Prime Minister Modi in New York and discussed issues on energy, trade, and more. And so my question for you is this. In the context of the 2015 blockade and also your new and growing relationship with India. How can we best preserve the relationship and create a dynamic relationship between our two countries that evolves with the 21st century and respects the sovereignties and interests of both of our countries in the region?
Okay. One more question over here.
Hi, Prime Minister. My name is Desmond Kuhn. I'm a freshman at Columbia College. And my question is about your neighbor. You were mentioning earlier about how you can't necessarily change your neighbors, so you have to deal with them. So your neighbor China has engaged in more border disputes in recent history. The New York Times reported that, according to satellite imagery, China has been building more villages inside what many would consider to be Bhutan, alongside sending more warships and building more islands in the South China Sea, in what many in the international community to believe not to be China's territory. What are your thoughts on China's current exertion of authority on other nations near and around Nepal? Thank you.
Two of them are a continuation of the first one, how you deal with India and China. And the other one is, what is your position on an international issue? So I leave it to you.
International issue, particularly
Palestine, Gaza, in the sense that
we are always in favor of peace. We are from the birthplace of Lord Buddha and the fountain of Buddhism. Everybody knows that. And by history, we were always in favor of peace, and Nepal is a very peaceful country. And our ideology is peace, harmony, compassion, tolerance, coexistence. That is our ideology. So, the basic of our foreign policy, we determined that, we coined that, friendship with all, enmity with none. That is our fundamental foreign policy. So, on the questions of wars, conflict, violences, or such things in different parts of the world, like Russia, Ukraine, war, we are not in favor of war, and we are a neutral country. We are non-aligned country. We are between two giant neighbors. We want to be very good neighbor, not bad neighbor. We don't want to create problems for our neighbors too. We don't want. Similarly, we don't we do not tilt to this or that side, but we want peace genuinely. We pray, we talk, we request, and we make efforts too, according to our capacity, in favor of peace, global peace. We are in favor of disarmament, of course, construction of this type of weapons and others. We are not in that favor, but we are in favor of. Now we have to abolish weapons of mass destruction. That is our desire, because weapons are not made for to kill the flies or mosquitoes. Weapons are made for what we know. So weapons are never matched with the humanitarian feeling and the ultimate desire and aims and goals and such things of human beings. Now we are seeing Israel and Hamas. Hamas attacked Israel. That was not a good thing. It was bad. But in that name, in that protection, Israel is again destroying the innocent children, innocent old age people who are not involved in war, who are not criminal, and the patients in the hospital who had no crime. They are being killed. So we are in favor of peace, not against anybody. Against war, in favor of peace, we are. And the relationship with India, as I mentioned before too, we want to be a very good neighbor, not bad neighbor. We cannot think against our neighbors and anything bad for them. We cannot think like that. We are always in favor of peace inside any country, inside any region, and globally. We are always in favor of peace worldwide, everywhere. And we have very long history of friendship with our neighbors. Not after the history was written, but before the history. We had very friendly people-to-people relations when there was no diplomacy was developed. At that time, people-to-people relationship was excellent. And if somebody wants to destroy this friendship between two countries, or if we talk about bilateral relationship with different countries, with both of our neighbors, nobody can. This friendship is undestroyable. It is lasting. Sometimes, of course, when people live together, they have contradiction. When you have never met somebody, there cannot be any type of contradiction, because you don't know him or her. When you don't know him or her, then from where the contradiction comes? When you sleep together, then one may put his or her leg on you. If you sleep on separate bed, no problem of that. If neighbor, something happens, one a small girl goes to neighbor, she breaks a plate. And the neighbor says, what training you are providing, what education you are providing to your offsprings? Your daughter broke my plate. The next day, her son comes this side and breaks another cup. Again another neighbor says. These type of things happen between the neighbors. So, if neighbors, inside the family, there are always a little bit small problems, but they are not that much serious. And within family, similarly, between the neighbors, there can be small problems too, because they are neighbors. If they were far away,